I've always been fascinated by the macabre, the eerie, and the unexplained. After reading endless articles about haunted places in New York, I decided to experience them firsthand. What better way to understand fear than to step into the heart of it? My plan was simple. Visit some of the most notorious haunted sites and see if the legends held any truth. It was a chilly fall evening when I set off. The air had that electric charge, the kind that makes the hairs on your arms stand up. My first stop was the Morris-Jumel Mansion, a historic site said to be the home of restless spirits. Once inside, the mansion was unnervingly quiet, save for the occasional creak of the floorboards. As I stood in the dim light of the drawing room, I felt a shift in the air. A cold breeze passed through, but no windows were open. I turned to see a shadow dart across the hallway. My stomach knotted. I tried to tell myself it was just my imagination, but deep down, I knew it wasn't. Next on my list was the House of Death on 10th Street, a townhouse with a grim reputation. It's said to be haunted by over 20 spirits, including the ghost of Mark Twain. The building loomed over me, its windows like dark, vacant eyes. As I stood on the sidewalk, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. A shiver crept down my spine. Gathering my courage, I took a few steps closer, and that's when I heard it. A low, guttural whisper. I froze. The voice was coming from the shadows near the stoop, too faint to understand but unmistakably there. I strained my ears, but as quickly as it began, it was gone. Shaken, I decided to end the night at the Dakota, the infamous building where John Lennon was murdered, and the scene of countless ghost sightings. As I approached, I felt a palpable sense of dread. The once elegant building felt oppressive, like it didn't want me there. I stood at the gate, looking up at the towering structure when suddenly, I saw a figure on one of the balconies. It wasn't moving, just standing there, watching me. My heart raced, and I squinted to get a better look, but in a blink, it vanished. I turned to leave, convinced I had experienced enough for one night, when something brushed against my shoulder. It was cold, icy even. I whipped around, but no one was there. My pulse was pounding, and the streets felt unnervingly empty. I hurried to the nearest subway station, desperate to put distance between myself and the Dakota. But the horror didn't end there. As I sat on the nearly deserted train, my reflection in the window began to distort. At first, I thought it was just the motion of the train. But then my reflection smiled. My lips had never moved. I blinked in shock, but the reflection stared back at me, grinning with a wide, unnatural smile. My heart slammed against my chest as the lights in the train flickered. My reflection twisted, bending at impossible angles, until I could no longer recognize myself. I slammed my eyes shut, breathing heavily, willing the train to move faster. When I opened them, the reflection was normal again, but the feeling of being watched lingered long after I got home. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every creak of my apartment, every gust of wind outside, made me jump. The experience haunted me, and even now, I'm not sure what I saw that night. But I do know this: New York's haunted places are more than just stories. They're alive, and they're waiting for the next curious soul to venture too close. If you go looking for ghosts in New York, be prepared. You might just find them, or worse, they might find you.